Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. What you're about to see is a clip from our most recent podcast episode. If you like what you hear, you can go listen to the full episode down at the link in our description. And if you like what you watch, please leave a like and consider leaving a subscribe. We very much appreciate all the support, but without further ado, let's get to what you clicked for.
So quick note before we made this list, I think we did a combination of fit and also just how badly they would need a quarterback. So fit both ways. So fit for
And how
Wilson.
they would be able to get him,
Exactly.
if they could
Yeah.
give up enough in trade, salary cap room, all that stuff. It was a combination.
Exactly. So the fourth team is actually the New Orleans Saints because I think, Jack did a video on, again, addressing the Saints quarterback situation. And I think with the Saints, with Jameis Winston, I'm fine with him leading it. So, you don't really need to go all out. But obviously, Russell Wilson has expressed interest. And, why wouldn't he? The Saints still have a good offensive line. They still have good weapons in Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. Traquan Smith also had some flashes, same with Emmanuel Sanders. But, again, I would say the offensive line is great. The defensive line is great. And yes, the cap trouble is going to start to hit, but you won't really lose pieces on the offensive line because most of them are secured. And, again, like Eric McCoy, young piece. Teron Armstead is still pretty young. So, they're not losing much there. And I think Russell Wilson is okay with that. Like, if you look at the common theme between these four teams, it's kind of just supporting cast, or at least teams that are quote unquote quarterback away. But the Saints aren't, I think, that was also a team I was thinking of for most to lose because I just don't think they're going to get back to the tier that they were from 2017 to even 2020. I think they will take a little bit of a step back. It's hard for me to believe that Jameis Winston can take this team and go far. But again, with Russell Wilson, again, fit for the Saints, this would be amazing as of going into next year.
Yeah.
Just the problem would be the next 5 years. Honestly, you would see another parallel with Seattle, just unable to attain, free agents or get anyone big. In the draft, they haven't really hit on anything recently.
Oh, I think they've been pretty. I mean, the Saints have
they've been
pretty
okay,
good in the draft.
with respect to their pick, but they haven't had any luck of those game-changing players. But because with Seattle,
I think since about when they took Alvin Kamara, like I feel like since then, I guess you could argue that.
But not to say they haven't been drafting well. They're a lot better than Seattle for sure. But I think the reason why we put them fourth is right now the Saints wouldn't be willing to go all out, and who could they potentially give, right? With the cap struggle that they're kind of in. I know it would kind of help them, but taking on Russell Wilson's contract is also something that they need to consider.
Mm-hmm. They're in cap hell. Honestly, like, if here's Earth and here's hell, like they're a step below that.
They're down,
and they always find a way to figure it out. But adding Russell Wilson's contract to that just makes it even tougher. And I feel like, yes, they have a lot of good pieces, but will they want to, with the way they are right now, like, are they going to go completely all in and trade the first round picks for the next 4 years or 3 years to get Russell Wilson?
No way.
I just didn't see them doing it. And also, you have to factor in that division is going to be really tough for years to come. Obviously, right now, Tom Brady's there. But like we said earlier, the Panthers are retooling. And the Saints, I feel like they either win a Super Bowl this year or actually, honestly, you could have even argued that last year. That, like, they either won one last year or they were just going to fall off, because it's tough to kind of maintain that level for so long. And the Saints have done it for so long, but you're kind of coming to that tail end of that where you're running out of money. You've done so many restructures and it's kind of just all hitting you at one time. And that's really what's happening with the Saints.
Yep.
So the money was kind of the big reason, but also, we didn't think they would go completely all out and give up everything like a team like the Chicago Bears, who we have coming in at 3. And the reason that I think Chicago is ahead of New Orleans is it's just they have a little bit more cap space. Obviously, the Saints are terrible in cap space wise. And so the Bears have a little bit more options there. And we think that, it's a little bit younger there. I don't know. I think it's more like they have room for him. Like, they're able to have room for him in salary cap. They're able to trade away, I think, a little bit more. They'll be a little bit more willing to trade away. And also, I think they need him more. Like, when it comes down to it, I think Chicago needs New Orleans more. So I think it was close for them being at 3 and 4. But I think that just the need that they had for a quarterback outweighs the need that the Saints have. So Anish, you can talk about it more. But that's at least why I thought they should come in at number 3.
Yeah, so we initially had them 4, but I think what pushed me to put them over was I think that it was a little bit narrative based because Chicago is starving for a quarterback. I mean, I've said this for so long. Just they've been, they're a historic franchise. They've got 30 Hall of Famers, but they've never had. I mean, it's just crazy to believe in 100 years. I mean, maybe besides Sammy Baugh, I don't even know if I think he played for them, but like, just, I don't know. They haven't had that franchise cornerstone of the quarterback position ever. And I think, getting a Russell Wilson, they will definitely try. Someone actually mentioned, an offer to me of Mitch Trubisky, Khalil Mack, and a first round pick. And I actually laughed at it. I don't even think that's close to enough.
No.
Nowhere close. I mean, take Mitch Trubisky out. That, I think Khalil Mack and at least 2 first rounders in a second. Like that, maybe
I think
that's
I'll take
enough.
at least. I think you need even more first rounders than that.
Really, Khalil Mack and more 3.
Really do.
It's just but the thing is to get a potential guy like that, right? Think about it. If they get him early, it could incentivize Allen Robinson to stay. The defense would still be pretty good with a decent defensive line. Bilal Nichols also emerged last year. We didn't mention him previously. Like you said, Roquan Smith is great. Their secondary is still pretty good. Jalen Johnson had some flashes too. But to get that guy, it's so, they will worship him there in Chicago. I mean, I've talked to Bears fans. They're starving for a guy there. And also, like you mentioned, Jack, I know the NFC North, it's kind of run by Aaron Rodgers, but, Russell Wilson would put up a fight. And I think, this would be the most talented quarterback that Chicago's had. And I think Matt Nagy, we haven't seen him with a talented guy. So, he was able to get a Pro Bowl year out of Mr. Trubisky. And I know he's been stagnant this year, definitely had some downs, but give him a guy with like Russell Wilson and then really see what he can do. I mean, he was the coach of the year for the reason. So that would be a really good move by Ryan Pace if he can get it. And again, I think the reason why we put him at 3 was just that kind of need for him and that narrative.
Yeah. And number 2, we have the Dallas Cowboys, meaning that number 1 is the Las Vegas Raiders. Anish, I'll take the Cowboys. You can explain the Raiders a little bit more, why we had them at 1. But the reason that we had the Dallas Cowboys at 2, I think for us, it was kind of Las Vegas 1, and then the other 3 we kind of had to sort out.
Yeah.
And Anish will talk about that more. But I think Dallas, the reason that they come in above New Orleans and Chicago is just because of the division. Like, Russell Wilson can go there and he automatically wins that division. And that's something that he's never had before really in the NFC West, because it's always been competitive. So it was the Cardinals with Carson Palmer sometimes. It was the Niners, and even the Rams a couple years ago. But he would automatically win the NFC East, and they aren't really committing, I don't think, to a run game anymore under Mike McCarthy. They've got a ton of great weapons and a pretty good offensive line when they're healthy. Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Lael Collins, it's a great offensive line there when it's healthy. And I think that just the surplus of weapons and the coaching there, I feel like Mike McCarthy and the way that they're just kind of committed to throwing the ball a lot, and with the receivers they have, it just seems like a better fit for what Russell Wilson wants right now. Because, I mean, if you're him, he's definitely been upset about the way that the Seahawks consistently just commit to running the ball more. Even they said that this offseason, that's probably what ticked him off too. But just the fact he hasn't had an offensive line that can pass protect as well, and because the coaching staff has always been a little bit more, I guess, willing to run the ball over throwing the ball, Dallas just kind of fit in as that second best fit for us. And also the ability to automatically win a division and kind of clinch that playoff spot almost before the season even starts was very appealing for him to go to Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't have said it better. I think to have the ability to kind of lock up a division, it's so hard to do in the NFL. I mean, we've only really seen it in the AFC East. Even the AFC North's been back and forth with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. I mean, I can go on and on, but to have this in the NFC East that has been consistently wide open for the last 20 years, it would be really something special. And again, Dallas, icon, like they say, right? Point guard for the Lakers, quarterback for the Cowboys, pitcher for the Yankees. Those are the kind of the 3, American position. People always say that. And I think he would be in a really good place there. And I think Mike McCarthy will finally give him the keys. I think he learned that with Aaron Rodgers over time. They were giving the keys to Dak Prescott, right? We all remember that. And he was throwing it a lot. He was going to lead the league in attempts and completions, by a long shot. His on-pace passing was insane. But I'll talk about the number 1 spot, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I know some people will be kind of iffy on it. My thing with the Raiders was they have the offensive line. Their weapons aren't bad. I mean, Darren Waller is probably the best, one of the best weapons he would actually ever have, in my opinion. I obviously, you could throw out DK Metcalf, but again, Darren Waller's been really good, and I think Russell Wilson could even elevate him more. I think the gap between him and Kelsey and Kittle is slowly decreasing. And that defense, it's not the best, but I think the reason why I put this, and I actually didn't even tell Jack this, when I watched Russell Wilson's Gruden camp, I watched actually it. I don't know why, but that one in particular, they just boded so well together, just the way they were conversing. And actually, I remember John Gruden talking about Russell Wilson's college losses and how it kind of affected him. Well, what has he had in the NFL? One of the most heartbreaking losses in sports history. So I think like I said, it's a psychological barrier, I think, that he is still yet to overcome. And I think John Gruden would really help with that. And I think it would also give John Gruden the chance to, he is the $10 million, $100 million man. So I think this would, again, Derek Carr isn't bad, and he's pretty good. But I just don't think, ever since that 2016 year, I just don't think he's going to lead a team anywhere far. And I think if you put Russell Wilson in that AFC West, he's going to compete with Patrick Mahomes. Again, that offensive line is really, really good. I think they max protect better than anybody, especially with their running backs. So I think, give him that with Las Vegas. And then, it will take a lot of capital, but that's something that they have. Obviously they got some from Chicago. They just got kind of out of that deal with all the compensation that they had, but still have a lot of draft capital that they can give. They have some talented players that they can also offer. I would say maybe Corey Littleton might be on the move. Maybe a pass rusher like Cleveland Farrell or something. But obviously we'll take more than 3 first-round picks. I think that's the bare minimum for a guy like Russell Wilson. So I just think the fit also with Las Vegas, it would be really good for a new city. And I think Russell Wilson could really uplift this team. And let's say he goes there, right? I'll ask you this: are the Chiefs a surefire bet to win the AFC West?
Yeah, I still think they are.
Really?
I
wouldn't.
Well,
I wouldn't say so.
Any other year, I feel like but just knowing that they are coming off this Super Bowl loss, that kind of just it kind of punched him in the mouth. Like, really, like, we don't know yet about the Chiefs. We're gonna have to see, which is why I was like, I'm really intrigued to see how they handle this, because it could. We've said before, it kind of has that parallel to the Seahawks loss to the Patriots. So we got to see how that plays out. But I mean, just imagining an offense with Russell Wilson at quarterback behind the Raiders O-line, sometimes handing off to Josh Jacobs, sometimes throwing it where he's got Darren Waller, he's got Henry Ruggs on the outside playing that Tyler Lockett role, but even faster. Hunter Renfrow in the slot, Nelson Aguilar if they bring him back, or someone if they draft. Like, that offense will be great. Plus John Gruden as his coach, who I feel like is maybe he's a people's coach more than Pete Carroll is. I just feel like the way he can connect with players, and I feel like him and Russell Wilson would be such a good combination, and they'll figure out the defense eventually. And even if they don't, I mean, I feel like they would easily still be a playoff team. With? I mean, even if they don't figure out the defense, is it really much worse than Seattle? Like, I think it's a great fit, which is why we obviously had them at 1. But if you guys are watching this on YouTube after, we want to know down in the comment section what you guys think, who you think is the best fit. We think it's Las Vegas.